This is the Microschool Minute, your weekly dose of microschooling news and events.
In this week's edition of the Microschool Minute, school choice takes the spotlight. National School Choice Week took off with events across the nation, highlighting the growing desire for schooling alternatives, giving families a greater say in how and where their children learn. In Florida, a school choice safari at the zoo is set to help families navigate educational options. Hillsborough County families can explore school choice options at School Choice Safari on Saturday, February 1st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hosted by Guide Ed Florida, the event connects parents with representatives from traditional, charter, magnet, private, online, homeschool, and microschooling groups. Families have access to free bilingual assistance to ensure informed decisions about their children's education. Alongside educational resources, the event offers fun activities including food, photo booths, face painting, and giveaways. The event reflects a nationwide celebration of strategies this week to expand educational opportunities. Student data privacy is back in the news. The FTC has finalized COPPA to strengthen children's data protection. The FTC has updated the Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule to enhance safeguards around children's personal information. Effective as of this month, the new rule prohibits edtech providers from collecting and using student data for any purpose without explicit parental consent, removing exceptions previously granted to schools. It also limits how long companies can retain data and expands the definition of protected information to include biometric data. The rule addresses growing concerns over data monetization by edtech companies as legislative updates to FERPA are also anticipated. FTC Chair Lena Khan highlighted these measures as critical to maintaining parental control and protecting children's privacy. Special education formal disputes are seeing notable increases. Formal disputes in special education increased by 71.6% between the 2012-2022 academic school years, with New York accounting for 65% of due process complaints in 2022 alone. Mediation requests reached a decade high, underscoring the rising tensions between schools and families. Challenges like special education teacher shortages and delays in evaluations are key contributors to these conflicts. Efforts to reduce litigation costs and improve student outcomes are being assessed through early dispute resolution and workforce development programs. A report by Data Science for Everyone reveals a concerning gap in K-12 data science education, with only 277 schools and 104 districts offering courses on the subject. As the demand for data literacy grows, a shortage of qualified teachers has hindered the education system's ability to provide adequate training. To address this deficit, the organization is developing learning progressions, grade-specific outcomes, and a digital clearinghouse for instructional resources. These initiatives aim to equip students with critical data literacy skills, ensuring they are prepared for success in an increasingly data-driven world. Academic performance recovery post-pandemic continues to slowly rebound. Notably, California still lags behind pre-pandemic reading and math scores. Golden State students continue to perform below pre-pandemic levels on the National Assessment of Educational Progress in both reading and in math. Among 4th and 8th graders, proficiency remains alarmingly low, with 33% of 8th graders nationwide scoring below basic in reading. Disparities in performance based on income and racial demographics have widened as well, especially among low-performing students. There's a growing push for teacher training and early education funding, with Governor Gavin Newsom proposing to spend $500 million to address these gaps. Meanwhile, keep your eyes on higher education. First-year college enrollment spiked 5.5% in fall 2024. College enrollment rebounded significantly this past year, with a 5.5% increase in first-year students, approximating 130,000 additional enrollments. This recovery marked the first return to pre-pandemic levels, ending years of enrollment decline. Growth was driven by older students, with first-year enrollments among students aged 21 to 24 rising 16.7%, and those 25 and up increasing over 19%. Undergraduate enrollment rose by 4.7%, led by for-profit four-year institutions, which saw the largest gains. Public two-year colleges and associate degree granting institutions also experienced significant growth. This rebound offers optimism for higher education institutions as they continue to address lingering pandemic-era challenges and evolving student demographics. South Dakota's school choice fight is not over, Republican leader says. Despite the failure of 2 school choice bills in the House Education Committee, South Dakota Republican leaders remain committed to advancing school choice legislation. House Majority Leader Scott Odenbach expressed determination to find an alternative solution after a $4 million education savings account bill backed by Governor Larry Roden and a separate $142 million proposal from Representative Dylan Jordan were both rejected. Concerns over public school funding, lack of oversight, and internal disagreements among other school choice advocates contributed to the defeat of both bills. Republicans are now considering procedural maneuvers to push school choice legislation forward, including filing new bills or amending unrelated legislation. Meanwhile, Democratic leaders argue the issue should be put to rest, emphasizing that both bills received thorough hearings with significant public input. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds is urging school districts to take responsibility for student retention amid declining enrollment linked to the state's school choice expansion. During a visit to Alberta Community Schools, Reynolds emphasized that districts should evaluate how to keep families enrolled rather than relying on state intervention. The Cedar Rapids Community School District, for example, lost over 300 students in the second year after Iowa implemented education savings accounts for private school tuition. Reynolds praised Alberta's innovative programs, including a work-based learning initiative, as a model for other rural schools. She highlighted the importance of adapting to competition in the education landscape and suggested that successful local programs could be scaled statewide. Her comments reflect a broader push to hold public schools accountable for retaining students in the face of growing school choice options. Tennessee legislators are advancing Governor Bill Lee's Education Freedom Act, a $424 million voucher program set to provide 20,000 scholarships in its first year. While supporters argue it empowers parents, critics warn it could divert public school funds, with the state projecting a $44.9 million annual decrease in education funding. The bill also includes teacher bonuses and school facility improvements. Meanwhile, the state is facing scrutiny over Tennessee State University's financial struggles. After replacing TSU's entire board, lawmakers are under pressure to address historic underfunding, with the U.S. Department of Education urging a formal review. While no legislative action has been taken yet, TSU is set to update the State Building Commission on its budget in February. Just months after Nebraska voters rejected a school choice bill, lawmakers are introducing new legislation to fund private school scholarships. The proposed bills would offer tax breaks for scholarship donations, allow college savings for K-12 expenses, and inject state funds into tuition accounts. Supporters argue that school choice is vital for low-income families, while opponents see the effort as disregarding voter opposition. The Nebraska State Education Association strongly opposes the measures, calling them an attack on public schools. Meanwhile, lawmakers are also pushing education-related bills to boost teacher retention, increase funding for early childhood programs, and provide financial support for special education teachers. The debate over public versus private school funding is set to dominate Nebraska's legislative session. Despite opposition over potential constitutional concerns, Wyoming's House passed the Wyoming Freedom Scholarship Act, a universal school choice voucher bill. The legislation expands education savings accounts, providing up to $7,000 per student for private school or homeschooling, with no income restrictions. Supporters claim it ensures school choice for all, while critics argue it violates the state's constitution, which prohibits public funds from supporting private schools. Opponents also warn of financial mismanagement, calling the bill a wild west of waste. Some lawmakers attempted to reinstate income limits and oversight measures, but most efforts failed. The bill now heads to the Senate, where further debate is expected and legal challenges appear likely if it becomes law. At the national level, President Donald Trump has signed executive orders to expand private school choice, including vouchers for military and Native American students. The order directs federal agencies to prioritize school choice programs. Teachers' unions have condemned the orders, warning of legal challenges. Supporters believe they advance parental control over education and align with conservative education priorities. The practical impact remains uncertain. A new survey from the National School Choice Awareness Foundation reveals that 60% of U.S. parents considered changing their child's school last year, the highest percentage on record. Interest in alternatives such as charter schools, private schools, homeschooling, and microschools is particularly high among Black and Hispanic families, young parents, and those in urban areas. However, financial barriers still keep many from enrolling in private sector options. Despite the growing demand for school choice, traditional, public, and charter schools remain the most common selections. The survey also shows increasing awareness about school choice, with more parents reporting they have the information needed to explore alternatives. Advocates view this as a sign that the movement is strengthening and becoming more sustainable. A new report from EdChoice shows over 1 million U.S. students now participate in private school choice programs, doubling since 2020. Florida and Arizona lead the way with 13% and 10% respectively of their K-12 students enrolled in such programs. Other states, including Ohio, Iowa, and Oklahoma, have seen significant growth. Senator Mike Lee has introduced the Achieving Choice in Education Act, aiming to expand school choice by increasing federal tax exemptions for educational expenses. The bill doubles the annual tax-free withdrawal limit from the 529 savings plans to $20,000, making private school and homeschooling more accessible. It also ties municipal bond tax exemptions to state adoption of school choice policies, incentivizing broader implementation. This week's Microschool Showcase takes us to the sunny coast of California. The Homeboy Art Academy in Los Angeles is using arts education to empower youth and combat gang activity. Founded by artist Fabian Dora, the Academy provides free creative programs to formerly incarcerated and gang-involved youth, offering a transformative outlet for self-expression and skill building. Advocates emphasize that such initiatives can change lives by helping at-risk youth find purpose and a sense of community. The program showcases the profound role of the arts in fostering personal growth and in preventing cycles of violence. If you know of a microschool that deserves a shout-out, drop a comment and let us know about the work that they're doing. Thank you again for tuning in to the Microschool Minute, your weekly review of microschooling news and events. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you'd like to support us, consider sharing this podcast and leaving a review. Until next week, happy microschooling.